Hello everyone, how are you? You doing good? I bet you didn't expect for this video, right? Because this is our first video full English. Yes, some people requested me that. They said, "Hey Jonathan, why don't you make a video in English? So people can practice and be edified in faith at the same time." And guess what? That's what I did. Today, I'd like to talk to you about making room for Jesus, right? If you're watching this video full English, I assume you can understand English, right? So this video is for you. If you understand English fully, this is for you, okay? For you to practice, for you to receive more from the Lord from this source, okay? And guys, what I've been listening from the Lord, from Jesus during my coffees with him is making room for Jesus, right? This is something that, it's a big deal in our life, making room for Jesus. What happens is that because our life is so hurry, we live in a hurry. There's a lot of things to do, probably you have kids or a job or, school, I don't know, many things, If you have a personal life, you have to deal with many things, you have a schedule that you have to deal with, right? So, making room for Jesus sometimes can be challenging, So I'd like to invite you to think with me about the importance of prioritizing the time with Jesus, right? And I really wanted you to understand that there is anything else more important than being with Jesus, right? So you need to make room for Jesus. You need to make room for him in your life, And in my personal life, I usually make room for Jesus in the mornings, because that's how I find appropriate, to start my day. So I usually get up in the morning and I make my coffee. I'm very particular about my coffee, so I make my coffee. I go to a room and I bring my Bible with me. I put on some worship songs. Sometimes I worship first. Sometimes I pray in tongue first. But I always do that. I worship the Lord, and I listen, I listen to him. I ask him things. Hey, Jesus, what are you going to do today? How can I be part of what you're doing right now? You know what? So it's very important for you to make room for Jesus, because we find time. We find, room for what we treasure, for what we think, for the things we think that they are important. For example, you have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, or you have a wife, a husband, you have room for him, right? So you have time to talk, to go out, to watch a movie together, watch series together probably, right? But what happens sometimes is that we neglect, our times with Jesus, as if Jesus was not someone, as if Jesus was not worthy of our time, of our attention, So that's something we need to change, we need to shift our mind right now, which is to have time with Jesus. That's the most important task, the most important thing in your day. It's to be with Jesus, So you have to make room for Jesus. You have to decide to set in your heart that you're gonna wake up in the morning and you're gonna be with him, whatever, Okay, so I wake up this morning, I don't feel very good, I'm a bit sleepy. I don't care. That's the thing. That's usually what comes to my mind. Man, Jesus is in the next room and he's waiting for me. When I took seriously, when I took personally, that Jesus is in the next room waiting for me, that's what changed my prayer life, because I made room for Jesus in my life. Jesus has room in my life, Jesus has time in my life, right? So, does Jesus have room in your life? Does Jesus have time in your life? Do you have time for Jesus? And I'm not talking about going to church. I'm not talking about only reading the Bible, I'm talking about having a set apart time that you can talk to Jesus, that you can be with Him and experience Him and feel Him and tell Him, all the things you want to tell, and ask Him all the things you want to ask. But you have to put in your heart and mind that Jesus is someone. Jesus is real. Jesus is alive. And He's waiting for you. Do you understand all these things I'm talking about? Do you understand all these things, that we're, talking right now? So you need to set a time apart for Jesus. You need to prioritize Jesus in your life. Because you have time to school, you have time to work, you have time for your spouse, you have time, to go to church, you have time to do anything. But you don't have time for Jesus. And in the end, the only thing that is gonna count is the time you had with Him. Jesus, when he was talking with Martha and Mary, said, you're busy with many things. You're worried. You're concerned about many things, but only one is important. And let me tell you, if Jesus said that only one thing is important today, it's because there is just one important thing today. And He said Mary chose the right thing, and no one can take away from her. Wow, it gives me goosebumps. I can feel the presence of the Lord here right now, because there's just one thing for you to do today, and it's to be with Jesus. It's the most important thing. If you did a lot of things today, if you went to work, if your day was productive, you went to the gym, you had time with your wife or husband or kids or whatever, but you didn't have time with Jesus, your day was lost. So you need to understand that. You need to understand that there is just one important thing to do today, and it's to be with Him. And all the rest will come to place. All the rest will find their place in your life. You understand that? So I pray that, this small talk that we had about making room for Jesus helped you to really, be more conscious, be more aware of the time you're spending on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media you're in, right? Whatever the tasks you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're a pastor, if you're an apostle, if you're just a common member in the church. This video is for you, right? If you're a pastor but you don't spend time with Jesus, you're wrong. It's not correct. It's not right. Right? You're wasting your time running after the wind. But the only important thing is Jesus. Right? He is the most important person in time in our lives. Do you understand that? So I pray that you set in your heart that you're going to make room for Jesus. He's going to be the first thing. He's going to be the first person. He's going to be the priority, the high priority in your life. Okay? Do that. If you do that, if you commit to that, you're going to see your life change radically. Okay, I'm telling you because I have, experienced that. So I bless you, and I pray you have a good day, and I hope you liked. If you liked this video, if you like my channel, please, share this video with other people, so they can be blessed as well, right? If you know a friend that speaks English, send this video to him, so that you guys can be blessed together and talk about it. It's amazing. Okay, goodbye. See you next.